Hey, so good to see you here this evening. I'm going to be talking about how Mary learned to trust again. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm so passionate about this topic, about learning to trust yourself, about rebuilding a brand new chapter, creating a healthy, happy new relationship. Part of the reason I do what I do is because 40% of American families are blended families and they don't have the support, they don't have the resources that they need. And the truth is 70% of those second marriages will end up in divorce again. That's like a mind-blowing statistic to me. I really, every time I say it, I can't even believe I'm saying it. It's like who would get married again? But we all want to be loved, we all want a partner, and marriage has so many benefits. But if someone said, hey, the chance of you getting on that plane crashing is 70%, you would not get on that plane. But so many people jump into blended families. And listen, I'm a huge proponent of blended families. I'm in one. But I will tell you, blended families are difficult. They have so many obstacles to overcome. So, you bring your own baggage into an intimate relationship, and your spouse is going to bring their baggage into the relationship. And then you throw in high conflict acts here or there. You throw in stepkids and blending the family, and it is very, very, very difficult to navigate. And there's very little resources, and we aren't taught how to do that. So it's very important that you bring your best into this next chapter, that you bring your best into the next relationship. So, and that starts with learning to trust again. And if you're a people pleaser, chances are you've spent years denying your intuition, spent years listening to everyone else, putting your own needs last, not learning how to create clear, defined, healthy boundaries, all that good stuff. So it's really important that you do the work before you go out into the dating sphere again. So let's talk about Mary and how she learned to trust herself, right? When we say, I don't trust men, ladies, the truth is you don't trust yourself, right? You don't trust your own judgment when it comes to men, and you have to learn how to trust yourself. So Mary came to me, and actually she recognized right away, her marriage didn't last long at all. It was a pretty toxic relationship, and she didn't spend years and years and years in a toxic relationship. She understood that he was manipulative, that he was controlling, not a good father. So, good on her for recognizing that early on and following that, which was really, really difficult for her to do. But one of her old habits was going back to not dating high quality men, So, not that there's judgment around that, but for her, she really struggled with finding men who were educated, professionals. There was a part of her that felt unworthy, and that those men would reject her. So getting her to feel worthy and lovable and confident, and that was a part of the process, the knowing that you are worthy and that you are lovable and that you deserve to be in a relationship with a professional man who has goals, who is highly educated, if that's what you want, because that's what she had. But she was intimidated by those men. So getting her own self-esteem and her own worthiness was a part of this work. And um, part of this work was also defining the boundaries. I part of my process is doing a healthy boundaries workbook, right? And working through that and giving her some tools aside from that. So getting her to define her own boundaries, getting her to communicate those boundaries, which was a big step for her because before the people pleaser in her wouldn't want to hurt anyone or wouldn't want to offend anyone. So getting her to communicate those boundaries in a way that was honoring her and honoring her potential partners. And thirdly, following through on those boundaries when someone, so that's the toughest part for most people, especially you people pleaser women like that say, oh well, I'll just let it slide. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. No. So it's following through on those boundaries. So this is where we are with Mary, right? She's in the dating atmosphere and had met a guy on the surface was like more aligned with what she wanted, but she started to notice some red flags. And you know what I teach my clients is when you're dating, don't base your dating on feelings. Feelings are fleeting, and if they're based in trauma, they can be misleading. And I'm going to explain why in just a minute. I'm going to give you a good example of that, of feelings, and don't base on feelings. And coming right up. So when you're dating, you want to be looking for, does this person's words align with their actions? Does this person's words align with their actions? And I always say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, right? She was also what we call a data collector. That's when you need proof after proof after proof after proof. And this was one of those instances where, she'd said, oh, okay, I've seen that, he's not following up on what following through with what he says, da da da, I'm gonna let this go. I have a conversation with him. And cut to our next session, she still hadn't done it. And I was like, okay, we don't need to get millions of data here. You've got the data that you need to know that 6 months from now, this is not a relationship that you want to have. So, what's the attraction? Let's go deep. What's the attraction here? What does he make you feel? Okay, this is where the feelings come in. And she said, he makes me feel comfortable. He makes me feel just comfortable in my own skin, just feel at ease in who I am with him. So this cuts to right to what we did with the worthiness stuff of, in her family, she was adopted first. And a second part of her is that she is a free spirit, a creative type, a little rebellious, strong-willed, but she was raised in a very religious, conservative household. And her mother in particular, she felt like had emotionally abandoned with her, didn't accept her for who she truly was, always guilted her um, for being who she was. And so there was a part of her that felt rejected from her own mother. And so this is where the feeling comes in. Well, this guy, of course, makes her feel totally comfortable, totally at ease in her own skin. And that's a hard attraction to pull away from when someone makes you feel that way. But when you feel that way and you start to minimize their behaviors, that's when you need to pay attention, because we have that default. Our traumas will trick you into believing that that feeling is who they are, but they've shown you who they are through their actions. So that's what you need to pay attention to. So by recognizing that, I gave her some exercises to continue to accept and embrace herself and to feel comfortable, and still those micro steps towards self-acceptance, self-esteem, self-worthiness, all those exercises I continue to give her. Writing a letter to herself, in that second grade where she really felt rejected and bullied. All of those things that I gave her led to her feeling more confident, more worthy, and following through, and again having that accountability and having that, you know support by her side to say, yeah, you know, there are men who do deserve you and what that will follow their words and say what they mean, right? So recognizing that that is her default just helps her in the dating realm, so that she can choose partners where it isn't settling for less than what she deserves because it feels safe, it feels comfortable. No, I don't have to settle for less than I deserve because I know that's my default. That's my trauma talking there. I'm going to go with my grown up, healthy, confident, independent, strong woman self and choose from that part of me while I'm dating. And you know what? She did let this guy go. She is dating, she still hasn't found the one, but I'll tell you, she's having fun and she's putting herself first. And when a guy doesn't follow through, she knows her worth. She moves on. She doesn't like worry about it or give it a second thought. She has her boundaries. They're clearly defined. She follows through now and she's having a lot of fun and she knows that she deserves better and she knows she's worthy of the best. So that's what I want you to think about. Do a reflection on that. Where's your default? What are the patterns that you've seen within yourself in your dating life and in your marriage that showed up where you were people pleasing or where you were denying your own needs or what were the red flags that you perpetually minimized or missed? And reflect on that and where you didn't show up, right? So reflect on that. Let me know what your takeaways are. I'd love for you to post in the group, hey T, I saw the video. This was my takeaway. Thanks. This is what I got out of it. And I want to know what your light bulb moment is. I want to know what your aha takeaway is. And if you want to know what is preventing you from trusting yourself and going forward and meeting the man of your dreams, meeting the partner of your dreams, and you want to know what emotional trauma or unresolved childhood issue is keeping you from being your best version of yourself going forward, reach out to me. We'll set up some time. We'll set up a phone call and we'll talk about your individual needs and how it's keeping you from being aligned and having fun and feeling free in the dating sphere and trusting again because you can trust yourself if you know the pitfalls and understand what's holding you back. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful, great weekend. I will see y'all next week. All right. Bye bye.